Welcome to another AeroLab tech video. Today we're actually working on our outdoor velodrome system that's going to be released soon. You can obviously see today it's a very windy day. Most people would probably be scratching their heads. In Calgary here, we're actually used to that. We're used to very large weather fluctuations. And the reason why this is important, because if the technology works here and we're picking up a lot of yaw and working with this type of difficult environments, it's going to work anywhere. So this is probably one of the most difficult environments for aero testing in a real world environment. Today you're going to definitely see Matt Singbell working on some testing. He's doing everything from sprints, validation, and a whole series of different tests that we're incorporating into the software, as well as the simplicity of not having to keep the same line on traditional timing systems. I'm also going to be working with Todd and Elmer. Both of them are high-level age groupers. Todd's qualified, he's a local engineer, he's qualified for Kona 3 times. Elmer's qualified multiple times, as well as he's a high-level coach and fitter here in Calgary. So those are the other guys we're going to be working with in regards to testing them, in regards to getting a bit of their feedback. They've never really been introduced. Again, it's one of those that aerodynamics is traditionally not easily available for age groupers. So they haven't had access to things like wind tunnel testing. Todd, another age grouper out of Calgary. I believe you qualified twice for Kona. You're going for a third. And locally, tell me a little bit what you do locally professionally.
I work as an engineer down for Crescent Point here in Calgary as a drilling engineer.
Okay, so. Awesome. So again, the token age grouper going for Kona. Yep. Great. And so from aero testing, have you ever done aero testing? You probably have fittings done, but what have you done for aero testing to make yourself faster for Kona?
Yeah, a lot of fittings, retool fits, and your typical, bike fits at shops. But aero testing, not a lot there. The only aero data I've really ever collected on myself is using like best bike split to, approximate your CDA and that kind of stuff. But this will be the first time to actually get more realistic and accurate aero data. You've been properly and professionally fitted, but what do you know about aerodynamics, or have you done any aerodynamics, and as well as a little bit about your background with pro racing and so forth with Ironman?
Yeah, I was a professional triathlete and a coach. I'm still a coach. I don't know a whole lot about the actual aerodynamics, but have worked with Lloyd Thomas in Germany. He fitted me years ago, and I kind of always used that fit and moved it over from bike to bike, and it still works great over the years.
And you did mention that you did some work with 4Eyes in imaging.
Yep, yeah, that's right. Yeah, they did a virtual wind tunnel, so I worked with my physical therapist and use a iPad to basically do a three-dimensional scan, and then they can send it off and do an approximation of UCDA.
At the end of the day, it's all about free watts, and let's face it, every Ironman wants free watts to go faster or be fresher when they go into the run. As a coach, you know this.
Oh, 100%. And from transitioning from former pro athlete to now like age group athlete, don't spend as much time training anymore, so I need to get the watts somewhere else. So I'm super stoked to get a free watts from you.
This is going to be the first time you're actually riding in a real world environment and getting aero data. So this is going to be a lot of fun. Look forward to it. So halfway through this, we're going to get a little bit of feedback, and then we'll get some end results and see, what your thoughts are on the whole thing. Okay, so what I'm going to be doing here is I'm actually going to be mounting the sensor to the front. So one of the key points is that we're not in the way of your hand, so I'm deliberately making sure I mount it lower. What happens is the sensor is going to be working on basically a couple key data points outside of the environment. Your power input's important. your wheel speed. So here on the Velodrome, whether it's outdoor or indoor, we don't use GPS. On the free ride system we do, but here we're using the wheel speed sensor. And then what's going to happen is obviously your body positioning is going to indicate something at the magic end called CDA or aero performance. Okay, what's important here, I'm going to get you to step on the scale. I'm doing your complete system. That includes your nutrition, your water. We're not going to drink any of that while we're racing or riding here. So I'm going to get you to step on the scale here. Let's see how skinny you really are.
Not really.
So at this point, we've entered all the data. We've got your weight. We're going to be running your second set of equipment to see whether you're faster, slower, as well as more comfortable.
Now it's got to go around.
Real world environment testing here. You ready to go?
I like it.
Excellent. Okay, let's get you up to speed. We've done our baseline test with your existing sponsor or your wheels that you have, and then we did a competitor's wheel. Okay, same conditions. So I want to show you your original baseline was the wheel setup we did. So your existing wheels, and remember this is personalized, with this setup, your existing wheels perform better. These wheels may perform better on other frames. We've done a lot of that, as well as they work with you. So we've had a good, successful day testing on an outdoor velodrome today as we're doing some of our development. And that's one of the reasons why Matt is here today. You obviously know him from previous videos as one of our test engineers. And so Matt, why don't you talk about some of the things that we're focused on today with our product development?
So as people know that there's, when you're at a velodrome, there's quite a bit of acceleration in the corners, and when you're racing on a velodrome and you want to know how you're testing, you accelerate in and out of the corners. So I was actually trying to have sprint in the straights to carry good speed into the corners so we can measure that tilt in the corners to get an effect of how that affects the rolling resistance of the bike and the aerodynamics in the corner and as you exit the corner as well. So that's why I was on a standard road bike today, primarily focusing on sprints. While they were doing more aerodynamic classical testing with the TT bike.
Yeah, and I think one of the things too is for people to understand is outdoor velodrome, we're actually like a 400-meter velodrome here, and there are smaller ones that are 250, but then also indoor velodromes which have other steep banks. So we're really making sure we get a good correlation on that whole. Yeah. So it was good. We had a good day in testing, product development. Definitely the outdoor Velodrome Mode will be coming out soon, and so definitely look forward to that. The Fitter 50s will be getting that ahead of time, everybody else, so that's really interesting. And so, Todd, this was a fun day. You're an age grouper. We had a lot of fun. We tested your main setup.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, it's nice to see actual data versus just sort of theoretical. You know, you can do your stuff on the trainer, see your power numbers, but until you actually put it into practice outside, you know, it's definitely good to validate that your position actually works, and you know, some of the sort of, you know, computer modeling is matching with what's outside. So, and then also getting to test out all the different equipment in such a variable day. You know, it's nice to know, okay, for race day conditions, if it's really windy, you know, do you go for the disc? Do you not? Do you kind of...
One of the things that we preach is that your race day conditions, you need to emulate those as close as you can. And typically, like you did today, this was your first day on a velodrome, you had a warm up, you had to learn, you got confidence over the course of the day. So your position was probably changing slightly, and we were able to see that because it's a very sensitive thing when you are a little bit closer, a little bit tighter in the corners because you're not as comfortable or something like that. Whereas an out and back, that's more like your race day. You're going to sit closer to your actual position, and that's kind of one of the things that we love about the outdoor real world testing, is because you can actually test closer to what you're going to be doing, not a simulated environment. One
thing that we've definitely learned today, and we talked about it earlier, is that your disc wheel, it's sexy, you love it, but the reality is you're a lighter rider. We had Elmer here, was a heavier, taller rider. He can handle the disc wheel. You learn basically it's very much almost like a golf club for you. Pull out the Big Bertha every once in a while in the right conditions. It didn't perform as well as we thought it would today, but to Matt's point is you could have been tensing up a bit. We saw you getting blown around a bit today. So you weren't your normal relaxed rider, 100K in, that type of thing. So definitely that's where we'd possibly retest it to compare it to, say, the deeper 90s that you were running and so forth. So, you know, made you question it, made you realize its potential of it, but when it should be executed and when maybe not to bring out the powerhouse disc wheel.
Definitely not when it's windy. It seems like, you know, not for me, especially if it's a technical course where, you know, you could be getting a lot of crosswinds, you know, so, you know, place like Kona, where they don't allow it anyways, you know, kind of validates you like, hey, you're not really probably missing anything.
And so a great example would be the Arizona race. Yep. A lot of people pull it out, but we've also heard there's been some bad days where people are getting blown off the road. It could have potentially been that one if you picked that weapon that day. Hopefully you like this video of the experience of kind of not knowing a lot about it, going through the process, and then having the end day. And like I said, the follow-up video, we'll end up doing some out and backs with him, dial him in a little further as he strives for Kona again, and hopefully it'll happen here in 2021. So if you like this video, hit the like button, follow us, new videos coming out all the time. Thank you for your time, and every watt counts. Thanks, guys. Cheers.